Hello, this is very exciting videos about how to use different type of function that is going to be pertaining to the decision making, very similar to the if function that we used in a previous video, but these functions are way too powerful and is going to be less typing, and the effect of this function is going to be enormous. So in order to start with, I'm going to start with the very first function with the vlookup. The vlookup, of course, I'm going to start with the single quotes in order to not bother Excel with typing anything, because if you type anything, it's going to think about what you really need to do. If you start equal vlookup, of course, it's going to really activate the function vlookup here. I'm going to treat it as nothing but a word. So if I start anything with a word, anything in a cell with a single quote, is going to treat that as a remark, as a comment. So I have an ID part or part ID, of a specific product. And we're going to pull from the table the brand and the products. Where does this table actually, I created a spreadsheet where I put all my criteria in pertaining to many other different decisions that I called it work area. So the ID is right here, 101. If that ID 101, the brand for that computer is Dell and the product's computer. The same thing for brand, for the ID 102. Okay, happens to be a keyboard, and the same thing, this happens to be a mouse. Look, this is the manufacturer, this is the manufacturer. I'm going to zoom it so you'll be able to see it better. So also you could be able to see things better overall, in the sheet. When we talk about 200% versus maybe 150 would be good, because that's too big for this video. I wanted to be able always to look at the data as a whole. So this is actually the criteria. So let's go ahead and see how we're going to go ahead and activate it. In order for me, I have a brand 104. I have no clue as an end user. I'm the one who's developing. Of course, I would be able to look. It's going to be a brand HP, and the product is going to be a printer. So let's go ahead and see how we're going to actually select the brand based on this value. So we start with equal sign. Again, this is to activate any sort of function or any sort of formula or calculation. I'm looking for this part numbers within the criteria. So the criteria is right here. Okay, let's go ahead and select all this. Of course, I could go ahead and take this away because I don't want it to be standing in my face. And also notice that the criteria is going to be used for multiple ID or part numbers. So I really need to go ahead and hit F4 to lock that whole range. Notice I don't include in the calculation what we have as a title or the labels for these data. Just include the data. Go back to hit comma, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that this is basically the main criteria, the value that we're going to be based our decision on. This is going to be column 2, and this is going to be column 3. So this is the criteria for what we're going to match or look up for instead. I don't want to use the word match. You will really know why, because a match is another function that we should not use that word within vlookup. But I'm looking up for 104 to see what its brand and what type of product it is. So now, as you notice, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I've been clicking, so it will always be added. The question here, what type of choice that I need to be making based on the product's ID? I'm going to really look for the brand or the products. Obviously, I wanted to get the brand, so I have to put 2 because the brand is in column 2. And there's one thing we really need to take care of. Is the brand, is the ID is a approximate match, or is it an exact match? of course, an ID or part number or social security or VIN, anything that is going to be exact value. So we have to look for the exact value. I'm going to show you later how to use it in a range value in another example. Here we go. It's going to put false for you. And as a result, if I hit enter, you will see that it's going to pick up the brand that is associated with the part 104, which is HP. Of course, since I did it for one brand part number, I'll be able to do it for the rest, knowing, okay, here we go. We did a mistake. Obviously, when I was looking around, I messed up the range, and I'm going to go ahead and probably select the whole range B3 through D3 and lock the whole thing. Why did I get all sorts of error? Because half of my range was not locked, was not turned into absolute address. Here we go. Let's see if that doesn't work. Then I have to look closely at what I was doing. Obviously, it did work because the area here, it was not completely locked. And what I want you to notice, since my data is in another sheet, I'm going to be able to really click on that sheet, and Excel very kindly is going to put for me the name of the sheet to remind me where this range is located. And that's why we should really name our sheets with meaningful full names. We should not leave them as sheet 1, sheet 6, sheet 10. And the exclamation mark here is to indicate that's the end of the sheet name, and we are really starting to look for the actual range. Of course, the whole range should be locked up and should be locked, actually frozen, in order to be able to use it repeatedly. The same thing for the products. So it's going to be vlookup, and you're going to click on the parts. The range is going to be coming from the work area. It's my kind of workshop, and immediately hit the 4 when you select that. So now we can see that the whole thing has been selected. And another comma, I need to tell which of these 3 columns vertical. That's why I'm using the vlookup. It's vertical. I need the 3rd columns to be now showing me. Of course, it's still the same because the ID is the value that I'm looking for. It has to be an exact match, so it's going to be false. Close that with a parentheses, and notice I got a printer for it. If I click that here, I'm going to be able to see what type of products correspond to that specific part. Of course, we already figured out the brand. Way too powerful, way too really very enjoyable actually to see how we can compare this type of decision to how many if statements. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, we have to really look around. I mean, there's so many different calculations. There's actually 10 calculations. Each one of those calculations would require from me 4 if statement because we have 4 criteria. Of course, 4 is not that much. However, if we want to take a look at this other example, this should be convincing that really VLOOKUP worth really using repeatedly when we have a very long range, 21 of those options, and 21 different criteria associated with this range, or within, let's say here, range of purchase. This is if the person bought from 0 up to 10,000, not including the 10,000, he or she will get 1%. If she or he bought from 10,000 all the way to 20,000, she or he will get 1.5% discount. All the way up to $200,000, they will get actually 11% discount. The same thing, I could go ahead, I'm just trying to really use this very effectively in order to really hurry up and view the message very quickly. So I actually did save things at level 1 all the way to level 2. Of course, we can send a thank you letter at that level. Maybe in the last one, you could invite them to have a dinner with your CEO. So we have actually 21 different criteria, and we have 21 different discounts, and we have 21 different messages or action or respond to that purchase. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the vlookup here and see what we're going to really look up sheet, what we can do. Let's assume John, this is the first customer, and he bought this amount of total sale or whatever that products we're not really concerned with. We're concerning with the value. This is the total sales he purchased, and we're going to see what type of discount he's going to get as a result based on his amount. If I take a look at the work area here, 8,000, let me go ahead and make it focus here, 8,789, it's actually falls between the 0 and the 10,000. Okay, so John should be getting 1% discount and a thank you letter at level 1. So let's see if that can be done very quickly. Still, it's a vertical, as you notice, vertical lookup. So if you take a look here, this is vertical, vertical, vertical. What makes this vertical is the fact that is the label at the head of the columns. Later, we're going to do actually horizontal lookup, which is going to be here is going to be the range, here is going to be the discount, and here we're going to do the message. I'll show you actually a trick that actually transpose, meaning turn them around, where we could use that HLookup in a second. So let's go ahead and focus on this for 1 minute. I'm going to go ahead and see what type of discount John is going to get. So I'm going to use the vlookup function and go ahead and get this amount. Of course, now we have a lot bigger range, much bigger range, sorry, to cover. Of course, this is nothing to be included in the range. That's just to help me in order to look at the count. So this is my range, this all the way to here. And now I must lock it. So I have to press F4. That's what I just did. And now I'm looking for column 2. And I need to have not exact match. I want it to get approximate match, which is going to give me the true approximate match. And here we go. And when I hit this, notice I got the 1%. Of course, that's the wrong format. And notice that I'm going to be able to see it as 1%. If let's say Tony bought something like 78,000 and worth of our products, and notice here, because I locked this correctly here and I want it to be the second column, he should be able to get a bigger type of discount, which is 4.50. If I have here, let's say Taylor, and she ended up buying like let's say $210,000. Here we go, 200. See that? So this is a very large amount of sales, and notice she will be getting actually, or he will be getting 11%, which is the highest discount that we have, because that's greater than $200,000. And notice here what type of message is going to be very similar to what we did, except that we're going to use, again, vlookup. We're going to look for the column number 3. Still, it's the same amount sales. That's the criteria based on it. And it's the same range, which is going to cover all this, not to include the number that's only for the purpose of counting. I know I'm being redundant sometimes, but it's just to emphasize the point. And now we have to click on the 3. And of course, the last thing is to not choose the exact match, because I'm not having the exact value. I'm actually looking for a value that falls between 2 ranges, between 2, actually not ranges, between 2 values. So we're going to click on the approximate match, and here we go. And look here, notice that we're going to get a thank you at the first level. Look here, this is the 3, that's mean the 3rd column, and true is going to be approximate match. So let me go ahead and hit enter, and go ahead and of course drag this. You'll notice that Taylor is going to get a thank you at the level of 21. So we have 21 different criteria, which is going to require from us 21 if statement. 20 if statement, and the last one is going to be the else. Thank you for watching. I'll hope to see you in the next video.